And they can have my things when we're dead. But we gonna live forever. But we gonna live forever. I don't want to wait for the wars to be over, for girls to join the Taliban and be free.
I can't wait for
I thought you were going to get me. Me and Danny.
I thought we were doing the original one.
Well, that's my. So we did the new the Feminist band, and we did a tribute for girls to join the Taliban, and I've had that song stuck in my head. Dude, that's one of my favorite sketches. Doing the guys the Ryan and the Suffragettes.
The Suffragettes.
I don't want to wait for the wars to be over, for girls to join the Taliban and be free. That one kicking
They
around.
do need more female representation than the Taliban.
Those songs get into your head.
I know they do. I have like ones from like the first sketch we did. Sometimes just like pop in my head. Like,
that one's tough
randomly.
for that. We are now entering the boy zone. The boy zone. Pull your dick out. You want a beer in hand. Getting tuned up. Fucking call some of the dogs over. Maybe share a headphone. Nothing gay
All
about that.
pull your dicks out if it's like a listening party.
Dicks
just a bunch
out.
of boys, dicks out, nothing gay.
2 fucking or 5, maybe 12 straight guys jacking dicks off.
Just the
The
fucking,
boys.
You know, maybe play it in the locker room after a little hockey game
After some fucking puck.
for a couple bucks.
And also good news. So the tour dates have been fucking sick, and it's been cool to hang out with everyone because it's one of the things is that I find is like awesome. But the people that listen to Boyscast and the sketches and stuff, everyone comes out and they're like, "Dude, I've been sending my shit to every one of my friends. You're my favorite." So it's like there's a lot of people that they're like diehards.
I get stopped a lot. I went to fucking this like band at Brooklyn Mirage on Sunday night or whatever, and this guy came up to me. He goes, "Hey," he's like, and he was so fucked up.
You're that guy from the bathhouse.
No, yeah, he goes. I actually went to a bathhouse the next day.
Yeah, you did.
And then, but he was like, "Hey," he's like, "You're the," and I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He goes, "What?" He's so fucked up. And then he was talking to me. He goes, and then he had a full drink, and he just goes, "All right," and he put it down and just walked away. Like he was like so fucked up and so flustered, and he's like, "Ugh."
He's flustered about it.
Yeah, it was weird. It was funny.
Yeah, so it's been badass because I always say that's kind of like with my people that I'm like get fucking pumped up about.
Yeah.
Like even when I see new comedians or like a new band or whatever that I get fucking like stoked about.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where you tell everyone.
Well, it's because you want to be that guy.
Yeah,
you want to be the plug.
You want to. And then someone else becomes like a big fan.
Yeah.
And then forever you're like, yeah, remember?
See, I fucking
my recommendations? Do I ever steer you wrong?
Yeah, I was that guy with Wesley Snipes when I was a kid.
Really?
No.
You're telling everyone? Dude, having this guy fuck your
fucking-
wife would be the best.
Dude, and then he says, "Never bet on black," and then he kills everybody.
But
Always
anyway,
bet on black.
My point was, my point was that because I've been talking a lot about the vaccine thing or whatever, but people were, and I've sort of said, I'm like, you can't not do stand up in New York. It's just not an option.
No.
But the Chicago thing, what I didn't realize, where I guess I was wrong, is I didn't realize that Chicago wasn't like that. So it was actually certain places doing it.
It's just the venue's choice.
That's correct. And so I didn't realize that. I thought, well, yeah, it's like what? There's no places that are going to break the law. That's the situation there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. But so when I realized that, there's no other venues available, but I talked to my like agent, managers and everything, and we kind of made a stink. And then basically we got the venue to agree just for my show that if you have, that if you can do a COVID test and that's fine.
Nice.
So for Chicago, Zanies.
No, that's Rosemont. Is that Chicago?
No,
or Rosemont?
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay.
For Chicago, Rosemont, we might roll it all into Chicago for that reason.
Got it.
So Chicago, basically, if you're in Chicago and you don't want to, if you're not getting the vaccine or whatever, you can do a test, and they're making an exception because of my kicking.
It's just, and it's not even a COVID test. It's just a skill testing question, like when you win, like when you win a fucking donut.
Yeah.
You go. It's just an easy skill testing question. Just to get
Yeah.
in.
So yeah, that's what with New York. And by the way, New York almost sold out. There's only like 10 tickets left or whatever for the 11 o'clock. But the fucking for the Chicago, if you want to come, you can come with a test or whatever. So anyways, that got sorted out.
Nice,
But
nice.
before,
And also, I just want to say, because we did the show in Minneapolis, just because it was so funny, is the couple who was dressed.
yeah, that rule.
They were like literally the hat. By the way, one of my biggest fears is that blows up to the point where I have to go do stand up as the character. We're going to put the hat
you
on,
go.
and you go, oh, God.
Yeah.
It's like our buddy fucking who was like doing, he was Toronto Batman, and then he had to do like, it blew up, and then he was doing gigs as Batman.
And then he didn't want to wear the suit.
and they
And
didn't
the
want to wear
promoter
his-
was going,
yeah, they go put the suit on, and he goes,
Danny saw them yelling at each other. The promoter
it was crazy. They're like, put the suit on, and he's like, I just want to do my act, and they go, yeah, fine, in the suit.
Speaking of stories, actually, so the Aries Spears story, we won't say who it happened to, but you reminded me of this weekend. It's probably one of the funniest things ever. So Aries Spears, our buddy was supposed to open for him in Buffalo, right? Black dude. And so Buffalo from where we live is about a 2-hour commute or something.
Yeah,
like
and he
that,
took
right?
a bus down.
Took a bus down. He's supposed to open him for the weekend, and he gets there and he does one show. Correct?
No.
He did zero shows.
He was in the green
did
room.
zero
Aries
shows.
Spears walks in. He goes, "Hey man, who are you?" And he goes, "I'm on the show." And he goes, "Oh." And then he comes and he leaves, and then the fucking like manager comes back and he goes, "Yeah, so he has like a rule where he can only be the only black guy on the show." So you gotta go home.
Aries Spears.
You gotta go back to Canada.
Sent him back to Canada and wouldn't let him open for him because he wants to be the only black guy on the show. So he probably has 5 minutes of material up front where he comes up and he goes, "These motherfucking honky comics."
Yeah, totally.
He trashes.
You know how it be being the only black guy on a stand-up comedy show?
He has 9 minutes material of
like,
being the only black
doesn't
guy
make
in
sense.
comedy. That's so funny. He sent the guy home.
He has so much material about being the only
He
black
probably goes,
comedian.
you know, it's hard for black guys in this business. That's why I'm the only motherfucking black guy in this show. And 5 minutes later, he sent the guy back to Canada.
Crazy.
That
was
is
like-
fucking wild.
I know. And he was doing like a 7-minute spot. You know, it wasn't like the feature act where it's like 25 minutes or whatever beforehand.
Do you ever have that where you're like, I should be the only fat? Yeah. You send a guy home and then you go, I guess the stage isn't big enough for a comic like me. Let me move the mic out of the way so you can see me. the classic.
Whose joke was that?
John Panay.
John Panay, right.
Let me move the mic out of the way so you can see me fully. That's that story. I was like, literally went back to my hotel room and I was chuckling about it. I
Crazy. But that's like a real fucking, you got to be like a real dick to do that.
You have to be such a dick.
Because you have to be so out of touch to think like anybody will like see Aries Spears when he's the headliner and you bought tickets to see him. And you go, ha, another black guy, huh?
Oh, another fucking
okay, here we go.
second black guy.
Second black guy.
You're
Oh, I
like-
didn't know I was at Urban Night. And you're like, what? No, you're the fucking headliner.
You're in Buffalo to watch Aries Spears.
Yeah.
And he comes on and you go, another.
Another one.
That's so wild. So I didn't tell you this, but right when because I always forget something when we're filming and I have to get it Ubered over. So we're doing the podcast. I'm loopy,
Yeah.
loopiest guy in the world.
Yeah, you're basically Kramer.
I'm basically Kramer with loopiness. You know, I went to get the cards from the Uber and I took the elevator up to the wrong floor.
Yeah.
And then opened the door and a guy was on his computer
No.
and he goes, ah! He was sitting backwards. He goes, oh my God. Oh, okay. And I go, oh, sorry, I went to the wrong thing. And he goes, and I closed the door and he goes, what the fuck? And I ran over to the stairs because I didn't want him to come out. So I walked in on this guy
Ryan's making
fucking
friends with you.
spanking it, I'm
Oh
pretty
my
sure.
God.
And then on top of that, I went to the wrong floor a second time. And then I was jiggling the key forever. And I was like, I thought I left the door open. I'm jiggling the key forever. And then I look at the door and I go, round 3.
Oh my God. And then when you finally came in, I was fucking jacking off.
And then when I finally came in, TP
And I was like, what the
jacking it.
hell? I thought you were going to be gone longer.
Isn't that fucking wild?
Yeah, because you know you're going to see this guy
I know.
in like the lobbies. Or
Yeah, I felt
elevator.
pretty fucking dumb about that. But okay, so there's like tons of funny stuff this week. But the new Canada thing, they have Danny was just telling me about this, but they're doing a all children matter.
Well, so it's today is which would be technically yesterday if you're listening, but it's like truth and reconciliation. Basically, we just fucked over all the native people, and then we're like gonna have a day for it now going forward in Canada. And so then they're like, but the slogan for it is all children matter, even though we're only killing native kids. Like it's only like the native kids. We're not like, so it's a real like all lives matter vibe.
It's an all lives matter
I go because it should
situation.
have really been like native children matter.
But
It's so specific.
all of them have been getting a little close to all children matter. I've said when they were doing the Asian square, the black square, and then the Jewish square came out.
The Jewish square was the best.
You basically had 80% of people. 80%
black
of
square was
people had a
like-
square.
Yeah, like literally my fucking that day, it was just my Instagram was just black square after black square.
Yeah, there was
And
so
then
many
like when people were the best were like my real like, you know, Jewish friends who were like really into Israel and all that stuff. And they were like if you care about Jews,
people
and
told
everything-
you to post it?
No, not to me. That was their post though. Would be like, if you care about Jews and you think everybody should, you know, nobody deserves this, post the blue square. And you're like, yeah, nobody not Jewish is posting the blue square. There's zero non-Jews posting the blue.
Yeah, it's a
square.
wild thing to post.
Also, it was like the exact
For
blue
blue
color.
balls.
It was all the exact blue color of the Israeli flag. Like they matched
yeah?
it to. You're like, I don't think you get how this is gonna go.
I feel like that should be a solidarity for boys when you got blue balled.
Yeah,
like you post the blue square, and other boys know like your fucking chick.
Oh, dude, he's in pain.
You got cock blocked all night, and you post the blue square, and the boy, every guy just posts underneath solidarity, brother. And
Maybe
with
a blue
Israel,
square, blue square with a fist.
yeah, blue square with a fist, but it's like a bit of an open fist. The blue square where you got blue balls is a fist, but it's like slightly open.
Unclenched.
No, it's just enough for your
yeah.
dick to go inside. Do you know what else? But just before I move on, the race stuff. I had like so there's like, I obviously follow all these punk sites, and I used to do all the videos, knowing some of the hard times and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Hilarious site that our buddy Matt Sancombe started, and so because I was into punk and stuff, I follow just all the things, right?
Yep.
And a lot of these places are, you know, obviously punk is very, very, I don't know what the best way to describe, like woke or whatever, right?
Yeah, super woke now.
Yeah. So, but all of them, so when they do photos of things, and even when they're advertising shows and stuff, they always do big diversity, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be like a punk thing, and it'll be like 3 black guys, 3 white guys, but that's not who's into punk, right?
No, punk is pretty white.
Yeah, and it's sort of fun. To me, it was making me laugh, the idea that it's like, in trying to be inclusive, really it comes across like you trying to use like see, black guys like our thing. It's like, imagine you do Dungeons and Dragons night, right? And you do like 10 cool black guys wearing like full back caps, like, come to the Dungeons and Dragons night. And you have a guy that looks like DMX and sitting there like 6'9" at the table, and all these like cool looking black guys.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. Like, no, we're being inclusive. It's like, well, it feels to me like you're trying to pretend that it's the same as the vaccine thing,
pandering, Ryan.
right? Yeah, exactly, right?
They're literally like, they're trying to essentially remake.
Well, imagine you do like cuck night, right? You're like, hey, cuck night, where all the cucks get together and guys who have each other fight. But
I'm
cuck night, we're very inclusive at cuck night. So cuck night, the flyer is like 9 black guys, and black guys are like, we're not cocks.
Yeah.
The same way that
We're not cooks.
But isn't it funny, the idea of something that's like,
I mean,
they're not into?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they have it with everything. It'll be like, I mean, Canada was the worst. We talked about it when it's like, when I went back and I'm watching a fucking commercial and it's like a Asian woman construction worker. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're like, you don't have to do this.
Girls do that with crying, and they'll be like, you know, emotion night.
Emotion night.
And they'll be like, you know, people should be more emotional. And it's like, and they'll have like guys.
And then it's all construction workers.
Yeah, it's all construction workers. It'll be shit that, and you go, they don't think that.
No.
But it's so funny to me watching you do some shit that they aren't into, and for inclusivity purposes, you put them in. The vaccine, I was saying that they are doing that too, where it's the billboards. I was just in Times Square, and all the billboards are black guys, right?
Yeah.
Because I guess they're trying to appeal to them. But it's like, you know, me and my friends got vaxxed, but it's like, that's not the situation. The situation is, in the black community, the vax rate's really low.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They're trying to trick them by. The thing
Yeah.
is like they
But
don't.
theirs
They
is
don't
not
think much of them. Like those articles, they're like they think they're dumb.
Yeah,
like,
it does come across.
They
like
go
that.
like, and they're not, and then they see that, and like they don't, like they're not like fucking confused as to what's going on. They be like, look, we don't want to take your stupid ass.
Well,
vaccine.
yeah, any black
We
guys
don't-
I know that are like that.
They're
don't
like,
wanna
we
take
don't
it,
care. We don't want to take it. We don't care. Whatever. And then they see these things, and they're like, yeah, that's not gonna work. Like just because you have like a fucking 2 black guys doing a cool handshake on a fucking billboard in Times Square, they're like they know when they're being pandered to. Like
Right. But yeah, it is funny. It's like if we did Boyscast listeners, we're like, hey, the Boyscast listeners, and we did like a photo. This could be you. And it's like 19 black guys with do-rags. And we go, no. We just wanted to pick inclusive. We wanted to be inclusive and diverse for our photo shoot.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, but you're painting like a fake picture of what their community does.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. To me, that was just like,
it's like a weird form of social engineering.
yeah. And it was,
But it's weird when you like it happens in like a punk thing because you're like that's not like so relevant to the.
well, especially when it's like emo or something, you know, like it's like an emo guy or whatever. And here's the flyer, and it's like a bunch of black guys, and it's like, yeah, that's not really who's into emo.
No.
But I think I've made my point. I'm drilling it home over and over again. But it just that fucking. Thing
I
is
wish
making
they would
me
do it
laugh.
the other way, or like an advertisement for like a do-rag commercial, and it's all just like white and Asian guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they go, we need more diverse. We need to sell more do-rags. How do we open up this
just
market?
chicks with bald chicks with who had cancer.
Just open up the market, you know?
I was in Times Square because I was filming, and I was doing like a Brian Laundrie thing, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But I was doing Brian Laundrie, should he be canceled? But I kept going up to cops. I went up to 4 separate sets of cops, and I kept being like, hey, just wondering if you have any updates on the case, if you could tell me the inside scoop. And they're all just like, leave me alone. One girl cop was like, get the fuck out of my face, basically,
sure.
which is pretty funny. But I got one cop to take my email address down, and he was like, I just have the same info. I go, well, yeah, but you might be able to get info. Do you mind taking my email address down? He goes, yeah, sure. And I go, okay, do you want to pull your phone out? How do you want to do it? I got the cop to take my email address down.
Just to keep you
in
updated.
case he gets any extra info on Brian Laundrie, to send it to me. I left. That cop was probably just like, what a fucking psychopath.
Yeah. The one thing I've noticed with New York and like I've learned is it's like pretty easy to become a police officer here. It's not a thing that like a lot of people want to do. There's like they need a lot of them, and it seems like the barriers to entry are just you just gotta want to. Like remember in Canada, like we had all these friends in high school.
They get
like,
paid less here too.
They get paid way less. And
in Canada, they make $100K.
But remember, like it was like you'd be like, oh man, I want to be a cop, but it's so hard. You got to do all this stuff, and it's like you got to have like it was like the hardest thing ever. Like
they
I had
give
all
you
these friends,
training.
I had all these friends who like wanted to be cops, and like most of them didn't because they just like couldn't. It wasn't because they weren't qualified. It was just like it was so competitive.
Yeah. Also, if there is like the hard diversity stuff, like my
This was pre that though.
Oh, even
this
that,
is I'm talking about when I was 20. This is before that.
Yeah.
And they like couldn't get in. It was just hard. Now it's probably if you're a white guy even harder.
Well, firefighters specifically, because firefighter was like ultimate white guy profession. And if it's like if you want to be a firefighter and you're just like standard fucking white Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your work cut out for you, pal.
Oh yeah.
But I was in Times Square, and we've gotten this before. Everyone who lives in New York has, but this time was specifically aggressive. A group of like fucking guys with selling the CDs came up to me. I was with Johnny filming, and the guys came up and they do the trick where they put the CD. They go, it's free. And then once they get it in your hand, they go $5. Which I think prostitutes should come up and do that. They go, free. No, let me jerk you off. It's free. And then they go, $5. $5. But when I go, no, I go, and they go, come on. And then they're surrounding me basically, right? And I go, I don't even have a CD player, right?
Yeah,
nobody
does.
And then the guy goes, I bet your fucking boyfriend does. He starts calling me gay, and he gets super aggressive and he goes, "Why don't you maybe fucking put it in your boyfriend's CD?" But they're still trying to make the sale.
Yeah. They're still in this.
As if I was gonna be like, no, I'll show you how not gay I am. I'll take 2.
It's like they just watched some YouTube video about like
Not wild.
how to overcome people's objections. Where you go,
Call
like
him
sales,
gay.
Where your sales, it goes, well, I don't have a CD player, and you go, well, instead of being like you can get one, they're just like, what are you gay?
He goes, you're but he's yelling at me, and I'm just like, okay. 99% of people don't want your CDs.
No, more than 99.
You cannot be getting this mad at every person who doesn't want your disc.
Worst part too is like they think they're all the next Drake. Like they think they're like 12 CD sales away from being the next Drake.
We were talking about that, and I don't know if it's that or this is straight up like a money hustle.
Are they blank?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know if maybe there's one guy in the crew that's along for the ride that's like, this is good to get our name out there.
Yeah.
But I bet you 90% of them are like, no one's listening to this CD. It's not about that.
Yeah,
it's about scamming tourists.
Yeah. That makes totally more sense. Like, I wonder what year those CDs were printed. If they're just the batch from like in the overlap of when CDs went out, but they just still have a warehouse full of these things, and they're just fucking. They get them for a nickel and they go sell them for $5.
Yeah. So on the topic of Brian Laundrie or Landry.
I think it's Laundrie.
So there's these guys, and I'm going to play this like clip. And this is insane. So there are people right now that are outside of his house and they're just protesting nonstop. So this is how it started. And it started with this protest. These are the people outside of the guy's house.
You guys are murderers. You guys are a murderous son. What were you thinking helping your son? What were you thinking? Huh? You guys have blood on your hands too.
Okay, so these people, they have megaphones and they go outside of the guy's house and they've been there 8 hours a day. This is their whole
thing. Are they doing
thing.
shifts? Like, so they're there 24 hours a day?
Yeah, this is their new hobby. And to be starters, I was thinking that this is what psychopaths should be doing.
Yeah.
Not being involved in politics.
No.
To be honest, you know, if you have these people out there being like, hey, I want to fucking, you know, I have this opinion on what Congress people should be, and they're talking about bills and stuff like that. And you go, if you're a crazy psychopath, this is a better thing for you to be obsessed about.
Yeah. These are the type of people who like if I had to classify a person like this, it's the type of people who buy like those tabloid magazines, like at the grocery store checkout. Like they're like into that and like the horoscope scrolls. Remember those like scroll things? They were like, they sold them at the store, like the weird, just like, it was like anyways, they're fucking lunatics for like, what do they think they're going to accomplish?
That's the biggest thing. You go, what do you think your goal is? That the parents go, yeah, you're right. Arrest us.
Or they're like, all right, fuck, I'm trying to sleep. All right, we know where he is. Here's the address.
yeah.
Just leave us alone.
So there's zero that they're going to accomplish. And I saw the same thing with, so Demi Lovato has this new show called Unidentified, right?
Yeah.
And she looks
Someone
for
tagged
UFOs.
me. Yeah, someone tagged me.
So So basically she goes, I'm Demi Lovato. I'm a singer, activist, and I'm going to crack the world's mysteries or whatever, right? And so she's going to, you know, small towns to people who saw UFOs. You know, basically she thinks she's Scully from X-Files now, right? And again, that is a good thing for a psychopath to be focused on. She's telling you who companies got to hire and who needs to be the president and what policy, how to handle like a complicated immigration situation. And you go, and it's like, you know, when you point like the kid to the wrong direction, they point her and they go, I think there might be aliens over there. Yeah. And then she's got a microscope, like a magnifying glass, and she's looking for alien clues. That's what these fucking people should be doing.
They're literally like, hey, I think I saw Tom DeLonge. She's like, where?
Yeah. That's exactly what a psychopath should be occupying their time with. And these people, with the type of people that are megaphones, instead of being outside of Congress, they're outside of Brian Landry's parents' house. But here's what the problem is the neighbor.
Yeah, because you're fucking with the neighbor. The neighbor's just like, I just live here.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. And this is like in Florida too. People are like not.
I mean, basically, this is what outside of my house is.
Yeah. Except with more stuff for sale outside of your house.
Outside of my house.
You think people are setting up merch outside of their house? Like there's like a little fucking, like someone's like, you know, we're going to.
I think these guys are the type that were selling merch.
But like, is there going to be like a little mini economy happening where all these people start showing up and they go, we're hungry. And then someone's like, oh, you know what? We should start feeding these people.
The hot dog truck.
Hot dog truck shows up. Fucking like a porta potty. Like just
it is quite the scene that they're creating over there.
It's a little bit of a festival.
Yeah, it's turning into. It's kind of like in South Park when you see, you know, the 2 or 3 people outside, and then by the end of it, everyone's out there with their signs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it really is. They're basically trying to start a cult of like Branch Brian Ridians. Branch get Ridians. All right, we couldn't come up with that.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one for me to come up with. But so they're outside of this thing, and they're there 8 hours a day, yelling through a megaphone.
Yeah.
You're eating breakfast. Brian's a murderer. His parents, the whole thing, right?
You know who's probably loving this though? These women's husbands.
Why?
Because they fucking get them out of their hair all day. They're just like
no. Or
are they dragging the husbands?
No.
Dragging the husbands?
The husband and the wife are a team.
Ooh, rough.
The husband and the wife are a team out there. And I don't know who started who. I mean, generally,
the wife.
No, well, this is what generally happened. I think girls get a little more carried away with the murder stuff. So either I'm 50-50, but one of them was into it and the other one got really carried away.
The wife dragged the guy.
But I think the guy's, that's what I was going to say. The wife dragged the guy, but I think the guy's really into it.
Does he have his own bullhorn or do they switch?
I think they actually do switch. I think they only have one megaphone.
He goes, I thought of a good one. Give it to me. And he goes, murder!
Yeah. You are complicit. But they're being, it almost feels like someone hired him where he's, as someone that's into it, I'll give you guys $10 an hour to go cause shit.
Yeah.
They're almost like protest actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like a Soros type hired these people to go bug this guy. But the neighbor flips out. And I was kind of getting the updates on this. And then I was thinking, I was like, how are people not more pissed off? And then lo and behold, someone had enough.
Yeah.
So this is the husband. This is what the neighbor comes out and says this.
You gonna hit a woman? Is that what you're about to do? I'm telling you.
I'm gonna tell you what you ain't no sleuth. You can sit here all you want with the microphone. I don't care. But you come on my property again, I'm gonna beat you.
You're going to prison, buddy.
Okay?
You're going to prison. Call 911. You're going to prison.
Call 911.
You're going to prison.
This ain't you.
You're going
This ain't you
to
on my
prison.
Anyway, and so
So
he pushes the guy.
Oh, he pushes the guy.
Yeah, but he goes,
Funny that he thinks you're going to go to prison for that. You pushed me. You're going to prison.
I was loving the guy go, you ain't no fucking sleuth. Huge line.
Yeah.
They aren't any fucking sleuths.
That's a total bummer, too.
Sleuths are First, I don't know if so the sleuths are out of control.
Yeah.
The same thing with the Alyssa Lamb. The sleuths now, by the way, so the sleuths on the case have decided that this girl was in a photo from Sandy Hook. And
Oh, that's not true? That wasn't actually her?
I don't know.
No, it's not a photo from Sandy Hook. She made a video.
She made a I'm not saying that's not true. My point is that so they started being like Sandy Hook was fake and she's in on this and he's saying, and it's funny because there's a whole genre of like TikTok that they're all saying this stuff, and a part of me is like, this is why Alex Jones can't use a bank.
Yeah. For like exactly this
So
reason.
shouldn't all these people be banned from using a PayPal?
Fair. That's.
Or you have to say that now that Alex Jones,
But is it all like chicks who are saying this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the sleuths are chicks.
Basically, when this is
and
over,
fucking
too, they're gonna-
nerdy, dorky queers.
Yeah. This is going to be one of those things too, where like these chicks are going to finish once they find this kid or whatever, and then they're going to probably get into Alex Jones because they're going to have like the taste for.
They're going to have the taste
for the taste of the conspiracy. They go, I've never felt more alive.
That's what I mean. These people, that's what started them, and now they're going to go full blown into it. But the guy, he comes up and he goes, get off my fucking property or whatever. Because I guess they were taking a break. He was taking a breather. And then he goes on that guy's property, does a bit of yelling over there. He's trying out some new vantage points.
Yeah, he goes, you're the neighbor of a monster. And he goes like, I just live here. I don't.
And then, he goes up to the guy, and then they go, you're going to hit a woman? Then he goes, you're going to prison. And then he pushes the guy. And he goes, you're going to prison for the push. So these guys,
is there any?
These guys are bootlickers, sort of, if you think about it.
Yeah. Is there any law like you can just go do this to anybody? Like, is this because like we have?
Well, they're on the person's property. I mean, I guess technically, shouldn't Brian Laundrie's parents be able to be who those two people that came out with their guns?
The St. Louis in St. Louis.
Yeah,
the
what's their
couple?
names?
I don't know.
Fuck,
I don't remember
the Kaplinskis or whatever.
Something. The couple.
The Kaplonskis.
Yeah.
The Kaplunskis.
The Kaplunskis.
The Klumps.
The Klumps.
But they came out, and that was their whole thing. They were like, "You're on our property." So you think that, but I guess Brian Landry's parents wouldn't be a good look for them to come out right now with a rifle.
But also, that was like 100 people on their property. That was like, they felt more threatened.
But it's either allowed or it's not.
Yeah, it's either allowed or it's not. But like, can the parents like call the police and go, hey, you have an issue? You go, oh, now you want to call us?
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, that scene's been fun to watch.
I mean, really though, at the end of the day, like a good set of earplugs just takes care of this whole thing.
Not really, dude. I've been trying all the different things. It's tough. You're trying to work. You don't want to put. You wear your.
I don't think they're doing much work. It's weird. I saw a thing actually.
No, the neighbors.
No, the neighbors. Yeah. No, I was talking about the parents. But I saw something where like the parents were like when there's something where they got back from shopping. I'm like, they're just like going out shopping.
What did they get? I don't
I mean,
know.
it's
You have
just
to eat.
Yeah, I know that.
What
but
should
you're
they
like,
be doing?
get someone
Sulking?
Uber Eats, I guess.
Well, they have to live their life.
I guess.
But okay. And
Spilled
the
water
next
everywhere.
thing was Danny Polishchuk
Yep.
went back to his roots and he's causing trouble. So people don't
We
know
talked about this briefly last week.
No, what
the
you
tweet-
said last week is
I
you
said
posted this tweet and your
my girl-
chick
yeah, my
was
girl was
got
mad.
mad at you.
Yeah.
What we didn't talk about is it caused quite the stir on the internet. And I don't think, people don't realize, I've mentioned it, but Danny was, Dennis the Menace when we were in Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
Now you see him and you go, oh, gay Jew. He doesn't cause much trouble, sort of sticks to himself. He's worried about finance.
Worry about finance.
What they don't realize is you were persona non grata in Toronto for a
bit
minute.
of a rabble rouser.
Yeah. Well, he was the original guy that everyone said he's transphobic because he wouldn't cut off his dick.
Yep.
And then you did the free speech show and Antifa was protesting Danny.
Yeah, the Rob Ford movie.
Comics
I
were
had-
denouncing him. Then he did this big movie, and Doug Ford was saying basically the premier of Ontario was posting that he would run Danny over.
Yep.
So he
There ain't a car big enough, pal.
he's a big rabble rouser before.
Yeah.
And
then
now
the
he's
cuties shirt.
yeah, that was a bit back to your roots. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good one.
But now, Danny, so what he posted was, I'll read your tweet.
Yeah, read the tweet.
Gabby Petito reached 1 million on Instagram. There are a lot of influencers who could learn a thing or two. So
Honestly, I think a pretty benign tweet, to be honest. It's more like I'm joking about influencers than her.
well, you found yourself in the center of a feminist Reddit group, and he's the center of controversy. So the comments on this, and people were screenshotting it and posting it in Reddit groups, being like, "Can you believe this motherfucker?"
Yeah.
Also, Danny's feet were on Wiki Feet, which
That's
is hilarious.
the best fucking. I
And
found
they
that
got a 2
today.
out of 10.
2 out of 5? No, a 4 out of 10, Ryan.
They
Don't
weren't
fucking,
happy.
Don't
Dan-
touch shit
someone
on Wiki.
they put Danny's feet on
I'm
Wiki
on
Feet.
Wiki Feet, man.
Because he always insists on being a grown man who wears sandals, which I don't condone of personally.
They're Croc sandals too.
I'm not a fan of the
I
grown
love-
men walking around in sandals. I
love-
think you put shoes on.
Nah.
If you're at the beach,
Yeah,
if
but
you're at the beach, you're at the
but you're
cottage.
also a pants always guy too.
Yeah, an adult man.
right.
Danny's on fucking stage, his feet are out.
No, I've never worn sandals on fucking stage ever.
So the fucking
I'm a casual man.
dude, there was a comic. What's her name? There's this comic that wrote an entire essay to Danny. Remember when you woke up and you had 85 deleted comments on your Facebook? The girl was just having a fucking conniption on Danny.
Yeah, because I invited her to be on the show, and then she thought I duped her. I invited her to do the free speech show, and then she was like, and she asked me, and I go, sure, you could do the show, why not? And like, because I wasn't trying to I was just like, yeah, whatever. If you really want to do the show, I didn't even like her. I thought she sucks.
Yeah, she
And
sucks.
She really sucks. And then she's basically like a Make-A-Wish comedian kind of deal. And then and then she was like, I can't believe, and she was like, I just had a mental breakdown.
She fucking-
about me She's like, you tricked me. I didn't know the Proud Boys were gonna be there. I'm like, I didn't know either. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
fucking free country. I don't know. I can't prevent who buys tickets to a comedy show.
And then the best part about that girl is she's pretty unhinged, but she did a show at a weed room with Paul, and she goes to Paul before she's headlining, and he's like, it's his show, and he goes, hey, could you tell the comics not to do weed material because I'm going to do a bunch of stuff on weed. She's at a weed room. She goes, can you not touch? It was like an ongoing joke going up to comics before the show. Like, hey, I'm going to do relationships tonight if you don't mind. Like the most benign. Hey, doing the urban show and be like, hey, do you guys mind not talking about race? I'm going to do a black people, white people thing.
Yeah. She also had the
Can
thing.
you not do any weed jokes at the weed show?
She also had a thing too where she was headlining Yuck Yucks and was like on the weekend, and so it was on the Wednesday show, which is the pro-am, or whatever. It's like you do a shorter set, preparing for your weekend of headlining. And this fucking dude in Toronto who's a comedy reviewer, well, I can't remember, Glenn Sumi was there. And so she ate a dick, and then she saw him. She really ate it hard, and she saw him, and she was like, hey, don't write about this.
Yeah.
She went up to him and she goes, in some fucking tiny magazine, whatever, Now magazine, she goes don't, can you do me a favor? Don't write about this. And made a whole thing where she's being you can't write about this. And then he's like, all right, I'm writing about this.
Did he write it was bad?
Yeah, he goes, she bombed.
Glenn Sumi kind of ruled.
Yeah, but
Everyone got mad at him because he would cover the bad boys.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna.
Well, he gave JJ top comedian.
He gave your friend
number one
JJ
comedian.
top comedian, which was also a controversy. People did not
and then,
like that.
And then JJ made the shirt.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give Danny a chance to respond, but this is what they said in the feminist Reddits. They go, I'm wary of men who make dark jokes or dark humor. Like, tell me you're a sociopath without telling me you're a sociopath. Which I walked in on you torturing cats. So.
Yeah.
And then
that's
they said,
that's the progression.
They go, they're doing an impression of you at this point. They say, yeah, it's dark humor girls don't get. I'm sure this dark humor gets men crying every time when someone jokes about their ugly penis. Boom!
In the scope.
Do you? So I'm gonna give you a chance to defend yourself. Do you cry when girls make fun of your ugly
Yes,
penis?
every single time. I go, it's not that ugly. It's a 2 out of 5.
Your ugly penis. This got like a bunch of upvotes, dude.
I know.
People were like, he probably fucking does cry.
By the way, what's the subreddit called?
I can't remember.
It's a female dating strategy.
Okay.
r/, which is basically female incels. Check it out. It's,
Yeah, it was solid.
Solid.
They go, I don't have Twitter, so I can't report it there, but the replies make me scared to go outside. So you caught a break there.
That's the best because you're like, it hurts all people, like all women, when you go like, I'm literally like, this joke makes me fear for my life.
That you said that influencers could learn from Gavin Petito.
And like literally like the joke is you go, yeah, they can learn because you're like, what are they supposed to do? Get murdered by their boyfriend?
Yeah.
Like the thing is obviously absurd. I'm not like sick she got murdered. The joke is about like influencers doing anything to be famous.
Well, you caught a break because she was going to report you, but she
Yeah,
didn't
she's
have
gonna
Twitter.
report me to the authorities.
She goes, tell me you're an abusive rapist without telling me you're an abusive rapist. So they like that format.
yeah, they do. Yeah, they like that format.
They like the tell me you're something without telling me you're something. That's a big format for these guys. So I'm going to let you respond again. Are you an abusive rapist?
Am I an abusive rapist? I am not an abusive rapist.
And they said, yeah, these are not jokes. This is actually how men like this feel deep inside.
But like, feel like what? I would love to sit down and go, what do I feel?
Well, that you want women to die. So you watch influencers like, I'd love to see her fucking dead 6 feet under.
Well, that was that one woman.
I want to wear her skin.
That was that one woman actually tweeted about it, where her thing on Twitter was like humorless feminist was her like handle.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then and I was like, this has got to be a setup. But she goes, wait. So what do you want? You just want like women to be killed by their boyfriends? Is that what I'm reading here? And you're like,
well,
that's what I
one
want.
person asked you a question again. So if they're
was
listening
the question?
here, are you telling influencers to go die then?
Yes. Yeah. That is what I am actually saying to do. Yes. For the people who are fucking like have
Wow.
no discernible
You're
talent.
fucking so lucky she didn't have a Twitter, dude.
For the people who have no discernible talent, who are hawking like skinny teas and just all sorts of different scams and cryptocurrencies, I'm fine with those people going to die. Yes, correct.
And then another person says that this is a red flag for pathological misogyny. That joke that you just made. You're pathological. You just can't stop. You should fucking be in the kitchen. Even when you're just having dinner with your girl, you making the dinner, and you just be like, you should have fucking made this. I'm sorry, I'm pathological.
Just so misogynist every.
Yeah, you're when you order food and there's like a woman and you're like, shouldn't you be at home raising kids? She's like, would you like fries with that? It's like, would you like a fucking real life? Would you? You're a fucking woman in the workplace. I don't approve of that. I'm Danny Polishchuk. Let me show you my teeth.
So yeah, they call me a
Pathological.
lot of things too: a psychopath, a sociopath, a pathological misogynist.
Yeah.
I'm a lot of things. To these
You're in
people.
the scope with these people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, an interesting thing I saw on TikTok that was kind of not good.
Mm-hmm.
I added someone, and then I found out that this happens with me too, is that when you add someone like me on TikTok, it gives you a notification that says, just before you add this person, just an FYI, they've
Pathological
had,
misogynist.
yeah, they said he's had a lot of content violations.
Oh, really?
So because I've been reported for my,
Pathological misogyny.
for my pathological misogyny. So when I,
Pathological misogyny, hypocrisy.
a lot of people in the comments of this podcast had a lot of good. The one that everyone was doing the lyrical, the lyrical miracle. Everyone was
Lyrical,
saying.
miracle, spiritual, pathological misogyny.
Pathological,
It's a progeny.
psychological, sociological, anthropological. Yeah, so everyone's saying I'm a spiritual lyrical miracle, but basically, if you add someone, they go, "Hey, just so you know, this is a bad boy."
I'd be like sick.
Yeah, I know, but doesn't that seem weird?
That is weird. But again, it's they make this as like a platform for children.
Yeah, whatever. I still don't like it. It's that catches on.
No.
But I also
Ryan's got the TikTok Scarlet Letter.
Let's do a quick sponsor here. I'm going to this is one of our favorite sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, and soak up your last moments of summer with, you guessed it, the Butcher Box. You know, maybe you're getting together with friends, family that you haven't seen forever, or spending time doing what you might have missed out last year. No matter what, the last thing that you should stress out about is cooking. I personally don't stress out about cooking because it's not a man's job.
And you mean you only know how to make toast?
Well, I know how to make cheese dreams.
Cheese dreams. I heard about your girl said you made eggs and you just like didn't season
The
them.
eggs have been a point of contention.
No salt.
the eggs that I made once have been a point of contention.
One time eggs.
So, but the Butcher Box, I've been on the steaks. Danny's been on the chickens.
I've been
'cause you
eating
are what you
fucking-
eat.
Dude, I've been trashing everything. I made fucking lobster rolls last week.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, forget about it.
Forget about it. So the options are 100% grass-fed and finished beef, free-range organic chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught lobster tails, wild-caught Alaskan salmon, and the sugar nitrate-free bacon. So Butcher Box is a no-brainer. You want to get on this. Each box is 9 to 11 pounds of meat. And unlike Danny, I made this joke before. Unlike Danny's pants, that has 1 to 2 milligrams of meat. The Butcher Box is 9 to 11 pounds of meat, and Danny's pans have 1 to 2
1
milligrams.
to 2 grams.
Also, my pans have 9 to 11 milligrams of ball.
No, you have 9 to 11 pounds of ball.
Fresh packed, shipped, frozen, vacuum sealed. It's easy to store in a freezer. Delicious meal with friends and for get-togethers with friends. The special offer that Butcher Box has given you is when you sign up, you get a Butcher Box will give you a free chicken. Butcher Box will gift you a free chicken, burgers, and hot dogs in your first free box. The process is simple. You just sign up and they choose your box and delivery frequency. They offer 5 boxes, which is 4 curated box options, as well as they can offer the popular custom box. So you get exactly what you and your family love, and ships your order frozen at the peak freshness and packed in an eco-friendly 100% recyclable box delivered to your house. So Butcher Box wants you to enjoy the rest of summer with this special deal. Butcher Box is giving our listeners a special offer of 3 pounds of chicken-free breast, 2 pounds of burgers, 1 pack of hot dogs for free. Right now, new members can get this special deal when they sign up at butcherbox.com/boyscast. That's butcherbox.com/boyscast for free chicken, burgers, hot dogs in your first box.
Dude, I love Butcher Box.
Well,
I've been eating so much fucking meat.
I have also been in a Twitter controversy this week. So there was one that I
What'd
got
you
Chris
do?
Williamson, pretty sick dude, but I did his podcast and stuff. But he posted a quote of mine, and that I agree with, and I got like messages from people being like, "You're a fucking asshole," and I know it's not. And I wouldn't normally just say, obviously I have a, big social media presence, so everyone's yelling at you nonstop and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But when something specifically touched a nerve with someone and everyone gets mad that I really think they're stupid, I think it's worth noting, because you go, okay, a lot of other people say that and this is why they're wrong, which is why I think it's worth bringing up. But basically, I said, and this was posted as, when people take people's tweets and post it as like a quote.
Yeah.
So someone posted a quote of mine, and the idea was, I said, I'm not interested in getting people from 30 to 50%. I'm interested in getting people from 95 to 97%. So that's something that I talk about a lot, right? And I said, surround yourself with people who want the same thing.
Okay.
And the quote, so people, were like, you're a fucking asshole, like blah, blah, blah. And
That seems pretty benign quote. Like it's
well, yeah, but
like, for someone to be like, is this a shot at me?
yeah, and it says but the reason why this shit makes people mad says so much about people. And for me, it was actually a little bit out
It's
of
like,
context.
tell me you're a loser without telling me you're a loser. That shit would have been your next quote.
Well, I was actually referencing what I've said about Jordan Peterson. So I said, I think Jordan Peterson has, is one of the best, biggest thinkers of our time or whatever. And but what I've said was his books and a lot of what he talks to, I don't find that interesting because he's very focused on, as a psychiatrist or whatever, about people that are kind of, their life's a mess. He's very interested in, like, if your life's a mess, how do you get to, guys that can't find a girlfriend, maybe you're a drug addict or maybe, it's all like, okay, make your bed, start. So whereas I'm kind of more interested in like people that are doing well, how do you do better, right?
He's like get you out of the gutter.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
The massive changes, not the incremental changes.
So this person, one of the main people that posted like 9,000 times goes, so what? It's no struggling people in my life. I only associate with those who have it all together. What a shit way of showing up to the world. Would you want that attitude shown up in your hour of need? So this is, the first part of what they said. And it just shows that people... It's kind of one of the reasons why people are always having the wrong arguments too, because they aren't able to address what their goals are. So, when two people are arguing about even like some politics thing, you go, well, what are your goals? What are you trying to get? And with this person, when you're saying, hey, what I'm interested in, and if you're trying to accomplish something really great, obviously surround yourself with those people. If you don't think that goal is important, so many times you have this conversation with like comics that are like, well, I want to have a good work-life balance. I want to have like a life that's fun. I want to travel. It's like, well, then those are your goals. And you're right. Surrounding yourself with whoever might not hurt or help your goal. If your goal is to be the best at something, if you're a company and your goal is to be the best company, obviously, hiring a homeless guy won't help that goal. It might be a nice thing to do. And if your goal is to be the nicest person, if your goal is to, so daily be like, oh, I helped someone. But again, you might actually, even if your goal is to help someone, you actually might do a better job of helping if you're able to put yourself in a position where you can help.
Where you can help people at scale instead of being
at scales. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, you can help a lot of people. Versus... If but you have to figure your thing out. No, I mean, sports is like the best thing.
All of this, but the reason this stuff bothers people so much, it's the same thing with like COVID and everything. So the same reason why, how when people are really scared about COVID, they need the government to like enforce that you can't go out either. Where you go, if you're vaccinated and you're like kind of staying in your house and you're wearing a mask everywhere, really it shouldn't matter that much what someone else does. But they have FOMO.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of this issue of like
it's just like taking the ball and going home. They
it's
go like,
100%.
We just don't want anybody to play, and therefore we feel better about
it. You're the guy at the company.
It is FOMO. You go.
So imagine you're someone working at a company, and it's like the construction site where someone, if everyone's like, hey, we're gonna take a break, and the guy goes, I'm just gonna keep working, and you go, no, we're taking a break.
Yeah, we're all
no. You don't keep working. It's break time. And there has to be some solidarity, because otherwise then the boss can be like, well, this guy's working harder. Well, in situations where there is no boss, essentially, they want the like baseline accepted level of work to be this. So when someone starts, even with like your comics, you see it all the time where it's kind of like they want it to be, we just kind of mess around and, you write a bit. And then when someone else is showing up every day and they've written 2 hours a day, there is a bit of, I get why the people like that are like, yo, fuck off.
Totally. Well, they want
stop making us look bad.
They want like, almost like justification for their
They want justification.
Mediocrity.
And when people are, when they feel moral in their, laziness or, mediocrity, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But when someone points out that that's what they're doing, like they go, you're just like, yeah, that's fine with being like medium or whatever. Like, and they're like, well, actually, it's not fine. It's the way you should do it.
Totally. Well, it's the equivalent of someone hearing like a Gary V quote or something and being like, he says, be great. And you're like, oh, be great? You want me to be great? What about, not everybody can be great, Gary. And he's like, okay, well, I'm a fucking motivational speaker. Like, what do you want me to be? Like, be average and just be content with that?
But it is even practical. I mean, it's these people, if you actually broke it down, the principles of if you were a hiring company, would you hire someone who's currently a heroin addict? And you go, no. It's like, why not? Okay, well now extrapolate that principle of like, if you've been working in finance for 10 years, would you surround yourself with people who've been working in finance for 4 months? Or would you surround yourself with people that are at your level trying to level up one more?
Yeah.
So obviously that's what you would do. But the other part that they're not understanding is when you say, oh, so you're not going to help people if they're in, so you're not going to have any people in your life that are struggling. It's like, no, you don't add people like that.
Yeah.
So again,
Also, imagine you took the opposite of that quote. You go, I don't want people who are going from 95 to 97. I want people who are going from 30 to 50. And you're like, what? Like,
yeah.
like,
Why? Why?
Just to make you feel better about yourself?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to, and people do that. People purposely will surround themselves with people who are like, to make them feel better. You'll be
Correct.
Like, you'll be like, oh, I have like a fucking pill problem. I'm going to surround myself with actual crackheads and that'll make me feel better. You ever see like outside of your house actually?
Yeah.
So you have all these like drug addicts and it's like a whole scene and you'll see there is
Real
a
hot
bit,
scene.
It is a real hot scene, but you'll see there is a bit of like a pecking order hierarchy where like there is the guy who's like, you can tell is like, at the top of the
He's
food
the
chain,
honcho
but
of
in the
the-
regular food chain, he's still at the
Yeah,
bottom.
yeah.
But in that little
He's the
circle,
man in the
he's the
village.
man. And he probably is like, look, I surround myself with these people. I'm the guy.
Yeah.
But like in the real world,
Which isn't
I'm
so bad, being the guy in your little world.
not at all. And he's,
But you don't get to
he's
now
doing the-
say that someone who's the guy in a higher world, like, it's actually worse.
Yeah, but he's doing the opposite of what you're doing. He's straight up surrounding himself with people that make him feel better about himself.
If he
who are
really
way
wanted to
worse.
improve himself, what he would do was hang around the other people that were the guys of their homeless circles, and then be like, "How do you keep the hose in check?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
and you go, "Oh, you know what? This guy has a policy that if someone pisses on the thing, this is how I deal with it."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're not going to get any tips from them. You're all just winging it on your own world.
Yeah. Imagine they find out that fucking you live a second away from them. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
You're gonna be fucking Ryan's not gonna be. You're gonna be like Jesus to them. You're not even gonna be able to leave your place.
Oh boy.
Oh my God, he's here.
The bodega guys all like the YouTube stuff. They're
Yeah.
very like, this guy's famous. He goes, when you give me money? When you give me money? He loves talking about when I'm giving him money. I go, for sure, checks in the mail, buddy. But the biggest point that I was saying is, so if you're talking about, for example, don't add people to your life. It's don't, like, if you got cancer right now, if you're dating someone and they like are going through a rough patch, obviously that's something that I don't think morally you would do. And that,
not.
but again, it may help you, but I don't think in the long run, being that type of person will fucking affect your reputation. It'll affect your, like, if you run your life with no honor.
Yeah,
But that
no
doesn't-
yeah, like it's just like no integrity.
No, if
like-
you run your life with no integrity, that's not a good way to run it. But if you're meeting, if your girlfriend's like going through fucking something huge, but if you meet a girl on a first date and she's like, I just got fired from my job, I'm getting evicted, you go, good luck with all that. Don't bring that nonsense into your life
unless she's super hot.
unless she's super hot. But you do get conned, because I've been with so many people that you start dating, a little bit, and they put on the front, and then 2 weeks, you're kind of like 2-3 weeks in, and it's like, I got fired from my job, I'm having this big problem at home, and it's kind of like, fuck, that sucks. And then you start dating them and you're like, oh, that's just this bad timing.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 months later, they have another one. And then 4 months later, they have another one. You go, oh, you just always have this.
this is who you
I
are.
caught you every month. You have an insane life crisis. And I caught you like the 2 weeks right before you had your next one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, yeah. There's nothing wrong with wanting to like fucking be like achieve shit.
yeah. And they go, you advocate cutting off unhealthy people? I guess I'll take a page out of your book and unfollow you. Boom. That's a good phrase. What did you do? How did you do that? Oh, never mind. I thought you were doing it differently. Back that up. Delete that. I thought you had a new way of doing the. You're just like the struggling people in the world. You just don't see it. So I do advocate. If you have someone in your life that's a drug addict that keeps stealing from you, yeah, you're going to cut
But again,
that
this
person
is
off.
like an interpretation by this person.
Right.
Like they're internalizing like stuff in their own life.
Yeah,
And then
and so many
projecting it
people are like, but this
onto
person
you.
represents everyone. They're all like this.
Yeah.
They go, you're just like the struggling people in the world. You just don't see it. Yeah. everyone's struggling. However, I'm not struggling with being a drug addict.
Sure.
I'm not struggling with like being able to get a relationship. I'm not struggling with what to do with my life on a mass scale. And I'm not struggling with, you know, how to get out of jail, for example. So yeah, everyone has their own struggles and you want to be around people who theirs are similar.
Also, I feel like this quote, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, felt like more from a professional stance. Like, was this a straight, just like all in, like, it feels like you're talking about like, you know, the comedy, like it's not like you're like, hey, just cut out all dead weight in your life.
You don't
like as a wholesale thing.
Yeah, there's obviously a different standard. I mean, your parents would have to do a lot for you to be like, I got to cut these people out.
You go to your parents, you sit them down and goes, look, so you guys are more like a 30 right now. I'm looking for more 95. So this isn't going to really work.
If you want to cut off your parents, they have to do something really bad, like vote for Trump.
Vote for Trump. Become real 20s, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have any room for you.
I mean, how it's so, but it's so many people. They have all these philosophies, right?
Philosophies, hypocrisies. Sorry, I can
Socrates dropping these. You just dropped these, your crown. But they never understand the goals. So many people have so many things they think where they go, this is how you should do this. This is how you should do this. You go, what's your goal? And they're going,
I mean, most people have none.
Most people have no goals.
Yeah.
So if you don't have goals, then you're just talking. Even with society, they're like, oh, I think that people should, they should have UBI or whatever you think, right? Well, what's the goal? If you go, and if you say, oh, the goal is for people to make more money, and the goal, then maybe that won't help. The goal is innovation. I want this. But if you say the goal is to like flatten it all out, and you know what? I'm fine with everyone making a little bit less money, but it's more even. Then you go, you know what? Maybe that would help your goal.
Yeah. And not to steal from Jordan Peterson, but his whole thing is like, don't try and change society if your life's a fucking mess.
That is one of his better things.
Yeah. You're like, look, don't try and like change these crazy things if you don't have your own shit.
Yeah, greatness is contagious, but also
greatness
failure.
is
contagious. Uranus. I'm girl. No,
we're just bleeding followers.
Contagious. Hear me saying this. Girls are from Mars and men are from Uranus. All right,
we're done.
We're done.
We got that out of our system. Sorry, everybody.
So, anyways, this is it was kind of making me laugh too. The thing I was saying that it sort of relates to everyone, and you see this in the reason why this stuff makes people so mad is because they want to just do stuff. Like how many, like kind of when we talk about people that are like, I'm writing a movie, and you're like, there's no point, and they're like, I want to do this and I need to think it's a purpose. Where people go, oh, you know what? I'm gonna start this podcast. I'm gonna go to LA. Networking. It's like, I'm going to go, no, I need to go to these events because they're good for networking. Yeah. And then you go, who's there? That's not going to help anything. Like, they don't even work in the same industry. Like, why would meeting that person help? And they go, I want to go to this thing and I need to pretend that I'm doing something productive.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you're in motion. You're at least like in motion towards your goal. Regardless of,
that's what they need to feel like they're in motion, but they're all full of fucking garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I had an idea that was making me laugh as a sketch that, the Not My Present shirts, how they keep switching back and forth.
Yeah.
A company that curates, like getting all the shirts from liberals and then switching them to Republicans and back. So like,
it's like after they recycle them.
Yeah. It's like after an election. And then basically they go to all the liberal states and round up the Not My President shirts and sell them at a
yeah, because everybody's like, I don't need this anymore.
Yeah, because now he is my president.
They just go to thrift shops and they get all the Not My.
Yeah.
Replace Trump's face with Biden's face. And
yeah. So I'd like a Not My President swap shop. But like it's basically like an app, and then you find like a liberal gets to match with a Republican. And kind of like when I was young, Glenn Healy lived beside my house, the goalie, and he's an announcer. And Ken Baumgartner lived in New York, but one played for New York and one played for Toronto. So during the season, they would switch and live in each other's houses.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
sort
a
of
very common thing, actually.
Yeah, so it's like a swap shop that basically it matches liberals and Republicans, Democrats and Republicans, and then they every 4 to 8 years they meet up with their buddy and swap the Not My President
all their
gear.
baubles and gear and
all
stuff.
the Not My President gear.
They just like pop the fucking head off of like the bobblehead, like literally just like you don't even need the body stays the same. Just pop a new head on.
Well, so this is what happened recently. Is a fucking loss for the boys.
Oh no.
Oh no. So LA Times labeled traditional masculinity is now officially labeled harmful by the American Psychological Association.
I agree.
Basically, they started by saying the American Psychological Association has issued its first official warning against toxic masculinity. So if you're listening, toxic masculinity, you're on warning.
They should have fucking sent them out over like the emergency response system on like you get a text every person in America being like, it's like a tsunami's coming.
Toxic masculinity warning.
Toxic masculinity warning.
The levels are high. The toxic masculinity levels.
The levels are high.
Oh shit.
Pollution levels.
Yeah. So they basically, they said that they've issued their first official warning. So just
guys, you've been warned.
It's on site when they see traditional masculinity. Traditional masculinity is on notice from the association, and then when they see you, it's fucking on site.
You think there's like a traditional masculinity inspector now that's going to go around to like fucking, like construction sites and just like as you're about to hammer, they pull the hammer out of your hand and they like replace it with a fucking flower. You go, oh, what the fuck?
Who are you? The American Psychological Association.
Traditional masculinity inspector.
We're the American
You're on blast.
We're the American Psychological, the Ontological, Prophetological. Lyrical, empirical, miracle. But so we're gonna go through the article, but it was, one of the things that their kind of premise is they always try to say things that they want are bad for you, even though it isn't. So they're basically, one of the things they're kind of getting into is that traditional masculinity and men not being open and having to pick masculine jobs and live in masculine roles is. By the way, I was helping Kurt Metzger write a few roast jokes because they're doing him and doing Kurt and Kyle are doing a battle off, but they're doing like a reverse battle off,
like all like confidence.
Yeah, I won't say the joke. No, like calling the guy he's like not even a good feminist.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah, if you guys got to check that out, especially if you're in LA. But it's gonna be fucking funny. We're
the
dying
pussies
on the
or
phone
whatever.
with them. Yeah,
nice.
But so basically they're saying that like it makes you more depressed and whatever, and it's just so funny to look at a society where you go, okay, most feminine society in the history of the world. Feminism levels are, and they look at that and they go, toxic masculinity is through the roof. So it's in the history of all of the experiments you could do. This is probably the most feminine society, like the Western world right now.
Yep.
And they're looking at that and they go, it's not even close. Like the biggest problem there is toxic masculinity is making the men depressed. And you go, well, then why are men more depressed now?
That's a good point.
Huh? Why are suicide rates higher? And you go, well, because of toxic masculinity. And you go, but would you not say it's more toxically masculine in Saudi Arabia?
No.
Why?
Because they're POC.
Why are the least toxic societies, Japan, not specifically masculine society? Masculinity rates suicide rates through the roof.
Yeah.
And their thing
they just have no purpose in life.
There was a fucking Netflix documentary I watched about, not a documentary, it was a show. And basically there was these guys that would kill people. It was like a cult sort of situation. And how they would kill them is they would get them sick by a pill.
Yeah.
And then they would give them medicine and the medicine makes them more sick. So the person would be like, when you're better, you can leave our hotel, right? Because we'll take care of you. They made friends with the person. And then they'd be like, take the medicine, and they couldn't get better, so they'd give them more medicine, but the medicine was making them more sick. And that was the scam.
And then they would die eventually?
Well, eventually, yeah, they'd die or they'd kill them and all sorts of... Well, no. Eventually, they would steal their passports and all this sort of stuff. But the point of it is that this is what they do. The medicine is being more feminine, and then it makes you worse off. And they go, you need more of our sweet, sweet medicine of feminism.
Some femininity.
You need more femininity. And then when guys, do all this femininity part, and you go, you know what? Maybe there's a certain type of person that helps. But for most people, completely going against their biological nature in every way, generally, finds people less self-actualized.
Yeah.
So then it makes, in a lot of ways, they don't find that they fit in, and it makes them more depressed because they don't feel like their place makes sense.
I mean,
in the
also
world.
some of the things are literally like evolutionary biological things. Like
that's on notice. Evolution's on notice as well.
Evolution's on, like, it's literally like Darwin shit where they go like, oh, you know what's toxic masculinity? Competitiveness.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? What do you like? It's like your like sperm literally competes like
Right.
with one another. Like this is like on the most like basic fucking atomic level. Like on the
It really is.
it's like you're trying to say like, oh, competitiveness is bad, and you're okay. Well, let's see what a society without competitiveness looks like. I mean, it wouldn't exist, but
yeah. It would only
it's just
exist
innate. It's innate. You're
if
like,
it was so socially stigmatized that you essentially go to jail for fucking trying to be competitive. It's like, are you trying to be competitive right now?
yeah.
Like you two guys are talking to a girl and they both like her, and then they both have to be like, I hate you, and then walk away.
Yeah.
And you go, I'm never compete over anything.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're playing basketball. It's
Why
like,
did
okay,
you not show up to
where's
work?
the hoop?
Why,
There's no hoop anymore.
Why'd you not show up to work? Well, I don't want people to think I'm trying to do a good job to compete.
I'd hate to make people think I'm care.
They said the particular constellation of standards that has held sway over large segments of the population, including anti-femininity, achievement, achievement, eschewal and of the appearance of weakness, so not liking the appearance of weakness, and adventure, risk, and violence.
It's like literally go ask fucking any chick who's looking for a partner. Go, how much do you like a weak man? How you looking for a particularly weak, uncompetitive underachiever? Make that your fucking profile on Tinder. You go, I'm a weak bitch who doesn't like to achieve, and I'm not particularly competitive, and see how that works out for you.
Not competitive, weak. And I'm not afraid of the appearance of weakness either.
Yeah, they
not one of those.
They just want every guy to look like olive oil from fucking Popeye,
Yeah.
just like stick arms.
Not
and, like,
adventurous, low risk tolerance. Just gonna be swinging bat, taking girls home right and left.
oh yeah, women love that.
I would describe myself as not afraid to appear weak. I don't value achievement.
I mean, the craziest thing is for them to not acknowledge that like guys are like this as a reaction from demands of women. Like it's not like these two things do not live independently.
That's true.
Like guys are like this because women like this and they're trying to get women. So it's like to say like this is toxic masculinity where like this is toxic femininity again. It's the same as like, remember the internalized misogyny stuff?
Yeah.
Where it was like, they're like, oh, no, this isn't toxic femininity. This is just internalized misogyny. And then
Well-
they're trying to take the other side. Where you go, look, it's like, it's a counterbalance.
You just hit the nail on the head because a lot of people that are espousing this bullshit, one of the big things that they don't understand is balance. So they look at, it's kind of like, imagine you see a guy that works 80 hours a day and then there's a guy who works a week, but a guy works 24 hours a day, doesn't sleep, doesn't eat, and then he dies. And then they look at that and they go, working's bad.
Yeah.
So it's like you see a guy that is in jail because he murdered everyone and they go, masculinity's bad because that's what it is. But they're unable to understand that you need a balance of things as a human being.
Mm-hmm. And that women are like part of this.
But this
equation.
So what they say is they go, traditional masculinity ideology has been shown to limit males' psychological development, constrain their behavior, result in gender role strain. Hey, gender role strain. And you know what gender role strainer is? When your girl's fucking making spaghetti with a fucking strainer and cooking you up a roll. What do you think of that?
You can cut that out, I think.
And
That's fine.
what's the baking roll?
A rolling pin?
Yeah, that's gender strain and rolls. You making me pasta with this big fucking strainer, and you get a fucking baking roll in my pie.
Whoa!
Woo! Philosophies of hypocrisy.
Philosophies of hypocrisy.
So they result in gender role strain, and the gender role conflict and negativity influence mental health and physical health. So that's what they're saying. All this masculinity is making you less physically and mentally unhealthy. Well, I can't imagine ways it's making you physically unhealthy.
I know. You're seriously. They're like, yeah, all these guys in the gym are just getting less healthy every day.
But this is the fucking American Psychological Association. This isn't like some wacky ass kook. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this isn't.
This is how embedded this nonsense is. But the problem is with them, I think they're saying that, they'll see a depressed person and they're looking at it like, if only he would let his girlfriend peg him, he'd finally be happy. They go, well, that's what happens when the things that would make you happy, like taking a fucking 12er.
12er. That's traditional masculinity for you.
That's it right there.
Just not getting pegged.
It's like, they're sort of saying the things like the gender role strain, right? But they're reverse engineering it where they go, well, like Danny, he picked this like masculine job where he's scamming his friends out of money by convincing them to buy Mutsu the day he sells it, right? Convincing his friends to make bad stock picks while he buys their shares. Like a man, right?
Like a man.
But they're saying like, but you'd rather work in a flower shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go, yeah, there might be the odd bitch that he's like, all I ever wanted to do was sell flowers, but my dad forced me to work in the hammer business.
The hammer mines.
But that is more of a guy characteristic too than girls, that you don't really go with the flow as much. Like that idea of your parents telling you to do something and you being like kind of getting in line with what your parents told you. Everyone has a bit of that, but girls have it more.
Yeah.
The like, I don't want to, make people mad.
Also, certain genders, or not certain genders, genders, they innately like certain things.
Yeah, so both of those things are combined.
Yeah,
the fact that there is only a small percentage of people that didn't want to enter, the things that more suit that gender. And then on top of that, if you are this idea that society's pushed you into that, that's actually even less relevant for dudes too, because they don't listen as much.
Yeah.
They're a little more rebellious. So there are two things there, but they're saying confronting the norms of this masculine ideology can result in suppressing emotions and masking distress in young boys, as well as more risk-taking and aggressive behaviors and a lack of willingness to seek help.
I mean, testosterone literally makes you take more risks and
in your body
and be more aggressive. Like it's a literal hormone that is, if you give that to a woman who's transitioning or whatever, they will start doing that.
And also to these
just
people,
cut off our balls already.
Yeah, just
fucking
cut the balls
psychological
off.
association.
Exactly.
That's literally their solution. You go, you know what? If we just fucking castrated every man in America, we'd solve our problems.
And writing a fucking tweet is risk-taking behavior these days.
It is when you're me.
When you're dangerous, heinous, fucking
heinous in the anus,
heinous in the anus. But I know plenty of dudes that are like emotional. Are they the happiest ones? Like, are your friends?
They're always crying. I mean, on the surface, they're the least happy ones. They're literally just crying nonstop. I don't know if that makes them feel better after all the crying's done.
Well, the report additionally contends that this can lead to traits like homophobia. And there we have it. So the American Psychological Association says that if you fucking are a man, it's going to make you less happy. Mm-hmm. It's going to make you have gender strain. You're going to be more physically weak, which I don't know why that's even bad to them.
It's ideal. It's the ideal.
It's the ideal body. But more importantly, on top of that whole thing, it's going to make you homophobic.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they said,
any solution? Do they provide any sort of solutions?
Well, yeah, their solution is cry more and work at the flower shop.
Mm-hmm. And that's it? They just want to, maybe it's like, you know how they have that like,
well, they actually are providing one solution actually right here. They said, Guidelines for psychological practice for boys and men additionally calls on those treating male patients to recognize their own bias and urges them to address how power, privilege, and sexism works by both conferring benefits to men and by trapping them in their narrow roles. So they sort of have a solution, and that solution is addressing your power privilege.
It's like a bunch of gobbledygook.
Well,
What does that even mean?
You're saying that as a guy who never addresses how sexism works, and that's why you're depressed.
Yeah, that's why I'm depressed and I don't work at a fucking flower shop.
Because you're afraid to
I
recognize
could have been
your
this
own
whole
bias.
time.
Can you imagine though, like some fucking 20-year-old, depressed, having a bad time, finished college, he doesn't feel like he can get a job, and then you go, have you tried addressing your privilege?
Yeah, just look in the mirror and just call yourself a piece of shit.
Have you tried that? Imagine this is your fucking psychologist. This is a joke.
It'd be crazy if you're paying this person money, like you're like $150 an hour to be like, so maybe have you considered that you're a piece of shit and that's why
Yeah.
everything's bad? And you go, huh,
Have you tried
never
to
really
address your
thought of
power
that.
privilege? Think that would help Los Angeles Times and the Psychologically Association? Your son comes home. He's having a bad day at school. Oh, I see what's happening here. You haven't been looking in the mirror and addressing your power
Privilege is acting up.
These people are fucking nuts, dude. The APA also invokes a series of sobering statistics. Get ready to be fucking sober, dude. That emphasize the traditional masculinity marked by stoicism. Now Danny's in the scope. Competitiveness, dominance, and aggression is on the whole harmful. Depends on what your goal
Yeah,
is.
for sure.
You know, I was having this argument too because I was kind of ranting this in my own life before I go to the podcast. I often rant about it on the streets.
Ryan's out there fucking selling stuff he found in the garbage with everybody else.
But I was saying that it depends on what your goal is, right? Like what I was kind of saying 10 minutes ago or whatever, the idea that you need to make decisions depending on what your goal is. And then they were like, well, what about when you okay, so let's say you're deciding whether or not to go to university or not, because we were talking about, there's this other article we might go through, but he was talking about like whether or not to go to university. There is a point where, well, a lot of goals that might help. You don't have to have one goal necessarily. So even when you're talking about how to design a city or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're saying like, hey, we should put like a park here, that doesn't really hurt anyone. But a lot of people's goals of different societies, it actually kind of would be in line with multiple goals.
Yeah.
So a lot of things you find that are in line with multiple goals, and a lot of things you propose that are in line with only one narrow goal that you need to think of. It's kind of an abstract thing. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But they said, also, over the course of your life, sometimes you always need different medicine, you know?
Yeah.
Some people, you look at them, you go, dude, you actually kind of do need to fucking be a man right now, like blah, blah. And then the other guy that's just like walking into bars every day, getting in fights, you might be like,
You need a good pegging. You need the doctor's orders, solid pegging. What the fucking, what'd you call it, a 12er?
a fucking 12 IN? For example, this is another reason why stoicism, which Danny likes stoicism, so.
I was stoicism before I ever even heard of it.
Yeah.
I'm just like fucking not like a victim. I'm not like a slave to my emotions.
When they were saying, it's like, you know, stoicism. Like, for example, when the guy, what's the guy's name? The big stoic guy, he wrote the letters. Seneca wrote that, his own kid and parents died, and he didn't even let it affect him. Danny's like, I'm fucking in.
Because every person died of the plague.
Broke up with his
and he was just going, that sucks.
Danny broke up with his long-term girlfriend, showed up to the comedy club. Anything interesting today? He goes, I bought a gumball.
Got a gumball.
Yeah, nothing notable other than that, though.
Yeah, it's because of my toxic masculinity. Ryan thinks I should have just been fucking weeping like a bitch.
Dude, that's so funny when dudes show up. That's like narcissism when you show up to places fucking crying as a dude.
Crazy, I know. I'm more of I just aggressively hump the air until people ask me what I'm so happy about. I go, oh, what, me? Happy about? Do you think I'm happy? I'm just like, yes.
Yes. Yes.
No, what?
What are you happy about? Oh, nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Except I'm on the market. All the single Dannies. All the single Dannies. That's how Danny shows up in the clip. He shows up on a Danny breaks up with his girlfriend. He shows up on a Segway. All the single Dannies. All the single
Black
Dannies.
leotard.
If she liked it, then she put a ring on it. If she liked it, then she should have put a ring on it. Oh.
Kind of regretting that I didn't do that.
What?
Show up like that.
With the Segway.
With the Segway and the fucking all the single Dannies.
Woo! Traniel in the building. And they said, though many men... Oh, no, this is the two more things. For example, despite being 4 times more likely to die of suicide than women, men are significantly less likely to be diagnosed with internalizing disorders because they don't conform to the traditional stereotypes of men's emotionality.
Okay.
They're saying you're less likely to, like, go get
Help.
And this kind of goes back to this privilege thing where you go, because you don't help. Mm-hmm. These people don't help. Like, they all... Can you imagine, like right now, online being kind of like a fucking, you know, white fucking rich like Trump supporter and posting online that you're like, hey, I'm feeling like depressed. I can't find a job. And have anyone not, like you would get half the people responding to you would be like,
Dunking on you.
Dunking on
be
you.
like, good, kill yourself. You go, this isn't really
The idea,
helping.
people, the 90% of the world is for a lot of dudes is people telling you how good you have it. Mm-hmm. Which probably, yeah, that doesn't help if you're like, it's hard to get over your problems when everyone's just like, you fucking have it so
you
good.
privileged piece of shit. And
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
go,
you're like, I
in
really...
your American Psychological Association paper, they're like, have you decided to recognize how good everything is for you?
Yeah, you go, I did, and I still want to kill myself. And then they go, well, we're out of options. The only bullet we had here was just you checking your privilege and hoping that would sort things out.
I kind of see it the other way too, where I've always argued where a lot of people like to argue that the idea of, you think you're like depressed or you're bad, or you think things are bad right now. Well, just so you know, this is the highest wealth of any society in history or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they go, well, look at people over in China, this and this. And they go, yeah, well, obviously that doesn't, like, relative wealth, like, does matter.
Absolutely, but that doesn't make people, that's not the solution to, like, you can't be like, oh my God, some girl goes, I was raped. And you go, oh, you know, some people were raped and murdered. And
Exactly.
You go, that's not making me feel
So
better.
I don't think this is a good thing in any case.
No.
When someone has a problem and you just tell them how great everyone else is, it's just kind of like stupid.
Yeah, how good you have it. And you go,
Yeah.
okay, well.
Well, listen, I'm going to talk about my next sponsor, which is Keeps. Hair loss, fucking prevention. And we got JJ's on board with this now. We got, we're going to turn JJ into old Homer Simpson.
We're going to turn him into the goddamn wolf, man.
We're going to turn him into the motherfucking Wolfman up top. Yeah. And it's convenient virtual doctor consultations, which is a good thing because you don't have to go to the doctor and have your doctor with his John Stamos hair.
Yeah, and the shiny thing on the front of his head. You go,
Yeah.
Are you going to look right in my asshole again? What does this have to do
Then
with
you have to find, he puts his hand up your ass. You find out he didn't work there. It's a whole thing. So you don't have to do that. Online consultations, which I like for everything. And the medication is delivered straight to your home every 3 months. You don't have to leave your home to do it. The offer is a simple, stress-free way to keep your hair. It's low cost. Treatment starts at just $10 a month, which is not bad. Keeps offer generic versions. So this is one of the cheaper ones. That's part of the whole deal here. Discreet packaging, proven results. Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any other competitors. Prevention is key. Treatments can take up to 4 to 6 months to see results. So you want to get on that now. Like our friend JJ, we don't want to see what he looks like in 8 years. We want to get this now. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/boyscast to receive your first month of treatment free. That's keeps.com/boyscast to get your first month free. Keeps.com/boyscast. On this, on the third portion of the Boyscast, we like to have some fun.
Love fun.
We like to have a little bit of fun.
I love
We like to start out fun.
fun.
We like to tackle the issues in the middle.
One of my main, like, traditionally masculine, harmful traits is I like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say that the National Boys Association declares fucking femininity on notice.
Hey, ladies, you're on notice.
Just so you know, girls, it's on site. We're fucking dropping the mitts the minute I see you. Dude, If you're listening and you're at the National Association and you want to fucking go buckets and gloves with the boys, if you want to just fucking drop them,
Just drop them, just for fun.
you spit the chew out, you go fucking
Right in the
buckets and
spittoon.
gloves. Be my fucking guest. You know where to find me.
You know where we're at.
You know where we're at. Come to my fucking sold out show in New York. Actually, there's 40 tickets left on the 11th. Come through the fucking sold out show October 21st. Just fucking drop them with me, LA Times writers. You're fucking on
Notice.
Yeah, I'm trying not to just do. I need my own one because that's Giannis made on notice his thing.
Oh,
You're on site. But it's my new thing. It's on site. But I love on site is so funny though. When like it's a more of like a hip hop thing. When you're in a fight with someone, you just always say like the idea is like, dude, when I see that guy it's on site.
On site, yeah.
Like you just immediately drop the buckets and gloves. I watched that hockey documentary, but the
Thrashers?
mobster
Oh,
fucking
so good.
Thrashers rules.
that's so good.
It was so sick.
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember reading about that a few years ago, and then they turned it into a
He
documentary.
tried to make it slap shot. And then, dude, all of the guys on the ice, they knew the minute the puck drops, they drop the
Just fight.
fucking gloves.
Dude, and the guy broke his leg. It was like facing the other way.
Oh, that guy was
The whole
awesome.
thing was crazy. The
What
one guy,
a
the guy,
film.
and then they had their sniper who only had one eye. The
Incredible.
whole thing was insane.
Yeah, incredible. But this is The Guardian, who's been coming up with some wild stuff. I just want to say, if we're living in a world where toxic masculinity is like the number one problem, right?
Which it is.
And then we have articles like this. It says, the phallic necktie is an outdated symbol of white male rule in New Zealand's parliament.
Mm-hmm.
So if you came from a different era or something, and you go, what should I know about 2021? And you go, Trump was president. That was kind of crazy. Toxic masculinity is completely out of control.
Big issue.
We've gotten to the point where we're banning ties because they're too masculine.
Yep.
You go,
I mean, it's funny that they say.
wait a second.
Yeah.
I thought you just said toxic masculinity is out of control. Be like, well, this is how we're trying to get a handle on it.
Banning ties.
If you look at a society, they go, men shouldn't have to wear ties anymore. No more ties for men because they're too phallic. And you go, yeah, this masculinity is what's fucking gone wild.
It's true. It's weird too because they say specifically they make the point that it's in New Zealand's parliament. You're like, but they wear ties everywhere.
Gayland.
But it's like, is this an issue in?
Gay land of the fucking gays.
Is this an issue everywhere or just in New Zealand? Because they wear ties everywhere.
Gaylordland.
Gaylordland.
Wah! Yeah. Hypocrisy, Socrates, philosophies. That's a number one issue right now with articles
It's
like
ties.
this.
You go, don't make us wear a tie.
Professor Claire Robinson. So I am you always like it when I tell you what the author is.
I love it.
So-
It gives you a little bit of color.
Professor Claire Robinson is a pro-vice chancellor of the College of Creative Arts.
Pro Vice, like the magazine.
Yeah, she's just pro-vice.
She's Pro Vice.
She's the
I
chancellor of
love
the
Vice.
College of Creative Arts at Massey University, but she's
Of
the
course.
pro-vice.
Yep.
But like, think about this. So again, we're gonna do an article about. So we're gonna talk about this also on the Patreon. But the idea that men aren't going to college at as much rates or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you look at universities, and because I've been talking about this in the past, but I'm gonna go through a bigger thing and to not cover it again, kind of here. But if you look at universities and you go, men aren't going to universities as much, and then you go, this is what the professors think. If you're a professor of university and you're writing articles about why ties are sexist,
Yeah.
and then you go, why aren't men wanting to participate in this?
It's so crazy how far
Because
we've
it's stupid.
Yeah. Also, like you would have you thought there would have been like a not that long ago where you'd come in all shabby and they're like, put a tie on. Now
Right.
you come in like all fucking proper and they're like, take that tie off.
Masculine much. Whoa, calm down.
Just wear a fucking garbage bag.
That's what they want. So yeah, but you go, this is what university professors are up to. Taking her free time to research, to write a fucking expose on ties.
Ties and how they're
There's
bad.
only one tie that the boys need to worry about, and that's Domi. Because he's about to drop the fucking gloves when he sees the Guardian.
Imagine he shows up to her office. He goes, I heard you had a problem with ties, lady. She goes, what? He fucking just beats the shit out of her. He goes, heard you don't like ties.
You want to get me banned?
I took that fucking personal. Came all the way down here from fucking London, Ontario.
You fucking think.
A lot of people were upset with me for fucking saying by the way, it was exported greens. And they go, man,
Yeah, I know.
why'd you have to pick Sudbury? Some people like the Sudbury shout out. And some people are like, we're not all like that in Sudbury.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sudbury's fucking smoking the green deaths while dipping chew.
Yeah, I know.
This is university. That's what's going on. Now, let me ask you a question before we move on.
Yeah.
Is the piano tie still sexist?
Good question.
That's a good question.
Yes. Yes, I'm going to go with yes.
A piece of clothing that echoes the cod piece is designed to promulgate white male power should be optional. So the Guardian's going hard this week with ties are racist. And they said, if there was ever a year to change New Zealand's anarchistic, she likes her big word.
Anachronistic.
So this is her using her university fucking professorness.
Yeah, you just got to put that shit to work.
Anachronistic parliamentary tie code. It should be 2021. And why are women policing our outfits is kind of another question that I'm
policing
having.
our bodies. That's fucked up.
Policing our bodies, policing our piano tie wearing, policing my ability to do that fun joke where you pretend the tie's your tongue to impress chicks at the bar. You know that one, you roll up your tie.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go, what's up, ladies? It's a very uncle at a wedding trick where you do that and you go, "Boo-ah?" And then the ladies generally just beg to suck it after you do that.
Yeah, so we're going to go your place or mine? Yeah, just go to the bathroom.
Also, in this era, these things are always specifically so funny where the situation right now for the last 2 years has been they shut down every business. People weren't allowed to leave their houses. The stock market crashed. So many people aren't in the workforce. And someone comes in and they go, good news. We got great news. You go, what is it? We're almost getting ties banned.
It is amazing what some people kind of make their thing, you know, that where they like the way the lens they look at the world where there's so much going on. They go, you know what my beef is? Ties.
They're just looking at the guy in Parliament being like, you fucking pig.
You know what her probably answer is? She goes, you know what the real answer to this is? Everybody just across the board has to wear female pantsuits. Like
That's what future does
Hillary
look like
Clinton's
sometimes.
female pantsuits for everybody. No ties. Shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Even if you're a dude.
She goes, white male MPs, the most likely demographic to wear a tie. I was kind of looking into this again. And yeah, you're right. Like in the Middle East, they don't wear this kind of stuff. Like China wears ties. Like their parliament wears ties.
Of course. Every country, even if you go to Africa, I'm sure.
Yeah, they all wear suits.
Yeah, they all wear. I mean, not all of them, but like.
Well, I guess because they're ponying up for the white man.
Yeah, it's because it's the colonialism.
Xing Shang Zhu in China doesn't realize that he's fucking supporting imperialism
and white supremacy.
and white supremacy with his piano tie.
You know what I didn't realize? I don't know if you're going to get to it, but actually, just go on.
The demographic most likely to wear a necktie are now a minority. So the white people are now a minority, but they're still
finally.
enforcing their white ties on. That's why the Chinese, the president of China, the chancellor, whatever you call him, of China.
Xi
The reason why he wears a tie is because this white minority in England is telling them they have to. She's like, it's almost, it shows they're always racism where they're like, the Chinese people don't want to show up to Congress in a tie. They would like to wear a rice outfit.
Yeah, those conical hats. And
Yeah,
they're like, nah.
yeah. That's what they think. They're like, I'm fighting for the right to Chinese people to
And
wear
they're-
a Raiden hat to Parliament.
And they're like, yeah, this tie's like fucking from Chanel. This thing was like $900.
I don't wear a Raiden hat. I think that Middle Eastern people should be able to show up to Parliament in their dresses. And they go, listen, I didn't grow up there. I don't really need to. I grew up in like the UK. I went to school in London. I don't think I need to wear my native garb. The African hats and the beat. Like, I guess that would be a flex if you're like a black guy that grew up in London. You're in London Parliament and you show up every day in the
Dashiki.
dashiki and the whatever
and you're just
Pelosi
like,
wear.
and you're literally like, Just fucking tell me.
Yeah, yeah,
can't wear this.
I
fucking dare you to tell me I can't wear this. And they go, and they're like, "Oh, we have a tie rule, sir.
just more ridiculous every
Your
single day.
Majesty says we need to wear a tie."
They have to show up Will Smith style where they do the tie around their head. And, you know, when they go, they said we couldn't wear a tie. They said we had to wear a tie, but they didn't say how we had to wear a
Yeah,
tie.
exactly.
And he wears it on his head.
Yeah.
Big move from WS. Big Willie Styles.
Big Willie Styles.
Also a fucking lyrical miracle.
Lyrical miracle.
So they go, the white male MPs, and they go, for some, Millard, who has previously said he personally loathed wearing a tie, apparently he's made a decision to stick with the tie rule. So there's a guy in Parliament.
Because of white supremacy?
Yeah, but well, he doesn't even
He goes, I hate ties, but I love white supremacy.
He's in a pickle.
Got to meet in the middle.
He's in a pickle.
Yep.
He does. He really hates ties, but he loves white supremacy. Because that's what they said. They go, basically, this guy's in charge of Parliament. And then they said they did a vote. And then they said, what do you think personally? He says, I don't like wearing a tie that much. Yeah, but the vote, you know, everyone voted and they still made a tie. So a significant majority of members who still responded and opposed any change to the dress standards for debating chamber. They must, after they had that vote, though, you have to imagine some people were,
You know,
first Brexit and now the tie law got shut down.
there were some probably tie shops near their Parliament building who were like, whew, they were watching that really carefully. You know, this might be the end for us, boys.
It is one of those things where
You think the tie lobby got to them at all?
the tie,
You
big
think
tie.
You think the tie lobby in New Zealand was like being like, you know, back alley deals, meeting in the back of a bar, just like fucking envelope full of New Zealand dollars, just
envelope full of
cash.
tie gifts.
Be like, he goes like real like House of Cards shit, where he goes, tomorrow you're gonna make sure that this fucking doesn't
Yeah.
pass. We're wearing ties.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna be allowing Thai food in the meetings. Thai Domi is gonna be at all Parliament meetings in the New Zealand.
Imagine it's a total inept thing, and they go, and then I'm gonna put it forth there. All the food in the Parliament is Thai food. And they go, no, wrong thing.
We gave you $1 million under the table.
Oh, we're idiots.
So they're policing our outfits.
I will say one thing that I did not know. Mostly we like do these articles, and most of the time I'm like, this is nonsense. I learned nothing from this. This is just nonsense, right? But one thing I did not know is because it says in the article, it says the necktie echoes the shape of the cod piece, which is I think the dick thing or whatever. And it says that.
Did you see the correction at the end of the article?
No.
Okay.
Oh, is it not true? Oh, fuck off! Because
I'm
it
not
says
kidding.
because it literally goes,
Dude,
it goes,
I'm not
Oh my
kidding.
god! So it goes, designed 500 years ago to emphasize a European nobleman's importance through his large phallic size. It is arrow shaped and directs the eyes of an onlooker
She
down
had-
towards a man's groin. And I was like,
There's
I
a
didn't
co-
know that the tie was an arrow pointing to your cock.
There is a correction at the end of that article that says she was mistaken.
Fuck
That's
off.
not what it's for.
I was like, I read that. I go, no shit. I go, because it is like an
No.
arrow pointing at your cock.
She had to correct that part of the article. I'm so happy you brought that up.
That is so funny.
She fucking said, she goes, the reason for the tie is for dudes. They put a. Can you
Like,
imagine-
it's the opposite of woman. It's like guys talking to a woman 200 years ago.
It was
he goes, my cock's down here.
It was the original The Man, the Legend. The tie was supposed to be the original The Man, the Legend t-shirt. So it was a big fucking
my God, I
hog
can't.
pointing down. And then it's like the little girl's like, oh, I like your tie. And you go, there's another one down there.
You go, look where the arrow's
You like a
pointing
big fucking piece of sausage on my neck?
Uh-huh.
How would you like my second piece of sausage on your neck? Down your neck.
That's
Fucking nuts.
That sucks. That was like, I would go, I actually learned something. And then,
No, you learned wrong.
yeah.
They corrected that. They had to fucking do a correction in
The
their
great-
article that says, oh, yeah, they didn't make ties to fucking
point at your dick.
tell girls that they have fucking massive pipes.
Yeah.
Well, these
Because that's
people-
what they were concerned with, 400 years ago when they invented the tie.
I
They go, You
know.
know what? We need to figure out a way for women to look.
The one guy with a big hog in the city needed to let the girls know.
Like literally before there was any sort of laws on consent or rape or anything, they go, hey, we gotta get ties.
It's nuts. There's a university professor. This is what she's up to. She must have been so pissed when that vote didn't go through.
Yeah.
Brexit, Trump, And the Thai law got fucking shut down. She must have
Big Ty wins again, man.
Big Thai will always prevail.
You can't beat Big Ty.
A fabric flapper pouch designed 500 years ago to emphasize the nobleman's importance. Yeah, that's the one that they had to strike down. If that was the case for me, if that was the case, though, everyone, you remember long shirts? Everyone should be walking around with a tie down to the ground. You fucking... You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like rolling, just like dragging it. It's like a fucking wedding dress, like the train. It's like 40 feet behind you.
Yeah.
Every
single guy is just walking around with his tie dragging like 20 feet back.
Literally, if
nine guys carrying your tie into the club.
If that was true, every floor on Earth would be fucking spotless.
From all the tie drags.
From all the tie dragging.
So today, the tie remains an enduring symbol of white male supremacy, serving to maintain white male values and standards as the norm. Well, if that's the case, do you think the Grand Wizard is watching this being like, all I had to wear was a tie? I got this stupid ass hat on.
Yeah, I know.
I'm wearing a fucking wizard gown when all I needed was a fucking necktie to let everyone know that I'm a white supremacist?
Maybe they could add a tie.
They should definitely put a tie on. They should have two ties.
What about a bow tie?
I don't know if bow ties.
Bow tie's not, because it's not pointing at the package. Bow tie seems like the bow tie's actually not that way because the fucking Nation of Islam took the bow tie.
Yeah, my hockey coach made us wear ties, which I now know is fucked up. But
why?
Well,
because of the white supremacy.
Yeah. Well, now I know that it's fucked up, and he's probably a pedophile. He goes.
It's interesting too because I read today that in the NHL, because the NHL is the only league that still makes the players do like the whole suit and tie thing. It's like mandatory.
Yeah.
And they're now talking about relaxing it so they can all dress cool like basketball players and stuff.
Probably cooler showing up to the game cool, but that's an old tradition in hockey.
But they're getting rid of it.
An old white male tradition.
It is an old white male tradition, and they're getting rid of it. It's going by the wayside.
I hated having to wear it. I mean,
all the players say straight up, they're like, "Yeah, it was fun. You know, you like wearing the tie once."
I mean, this is one of those things where I think these people are morons. And if you go to, if I was in any sort of working in any sort of proximity to these people, and a girl comes in and she's like, "Hey, I'm organizing a vote and we're trying to get rid of the tie," I'll be like, "Don't you have stuff to do?
No.
Do you not have anything to do?" That all being said, if I was, going to private school, working in parliament, and they said, "Hey, no, guys can wear whatever they want now," I would be like, sweet.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. I'm like, I hate that shit.
Yeah, no one wants to wear this stuff.
Yeah.
But they're still morons.
Yeah.
Girls get to wear whatever they want. Although there is something nice about the simplicity of not having to worry, and not having to worry about what you work. It's the Steve Jobs thing.
Yeah, you pick one tie and
you just wear the same thing every day. Has some simplicity. I do get that. So
but it's not, because people then they have like, my dad wore a suit and tie to work every day and he has like fucking 90 suits.
Right, but they're all that you're just picking. I have 90 black shirts, but I still just go pick a black shirt.
That's true.
So there is something. If they say, like the hockey players right now, they don't have to think about what they're wearing to the game, right? Mm-hmm. They just put a suit on. Whereas now they switch it. They go, you got to wear you can wear whatever you want. Now they're like, oh, do I dress cool? Do I dress like a nerd? Do I wear they have to think about it.
That's true.
It is another thing to think about.
Well, I think when they're rich though, they all do have tons of suits. They're trying to figure out how to like gussy up the suit. It's like, oh, do I do a weird hat? That's all you can really add to it is, do I wear a vest?
Yeah, right?
Not a lot of options.
Well, they said in December 2020, newly elected party co-leader Rawawa Walatiti on giving his maiden, so they call one of the things in Parliament a maiden speech in Parliament, which they did a brackets and they said another anachronistic term that requires interrogation. So she's in her article and she goes, she has other problems. The tie. She started on the tie, but she's about to branch off to the other terms.
She has a lot of issues.
Removed his necktie after speaking out about Tipuna, who was wrongly convicted of a crime. So big protest from this guy. He took his tie off.
Yeah. Imagine you're in fucking New Zealand. You're like, yeah, we
quite the protest.
You're like, every time we have one new case of COVID, we lock down the entire country, and then you flip on fucking Parliament and they're like, ties are bad. Yeah. This is what's important to deal with right now. And they're like, hey, we have like a real crisis with our country with like COVID. And they're like, ties.
And the last sentence is, forms of clothing and body adornment allow people the ability to project how the world sees them and how they see themselves in their place in the world. So this is girls, a girl thing. Obviously, it's like, you know, you get to show the world who you are. It really is. You should be able to, it's the boss in Office Space. You need to be able to show your flair.
Your flair, yeah.
And imagine, you think she goes, we ban ties, and you show up with a tie, and she'll go, well, we said you didn't have to wear the tie, but you're still wearing it.
You go, well, I thought it was my choice, though. And you go, okay.
A lot of things that these people say is their choice. They really don't think it's your choice. 2021 should be a time when our democracy is enabling, not preventing, members of parliament with other worldviews, genders, and values. Girls can already wear whatever they want and values to express and respect and their political ideals and values through other non-Western, non-male forms of clothing, attire, and decoration. So every society does have their thing. Like in Arab politics, they still do have a dress code. It's just their other dress
It's
code.
their dress code.
But anyways, the moral of the story is
Their dress code
these
is
people have
literally a
nothing-
dress.
Their dress code.
Is a dress.
Dress
It's,
code.
it's a very literal dress code. The code is the dress.
Fellas, make sure to buy the last few tickets to my 11 o'clock show in New York City, Chicago. The things we do to get the fucking unvaxxed boys in.
The unvaxxed.
And
boys.
also PLANO and
Austin,
Phoenix.
Texas.
Austin, Texas for sure.
We're gonna have like a week in Texas.
Yeah, if you're
gonna get cowboy hats?
You got to get cowboy hats. If
get
you're a
cowboy
fire
hats.
editor, hit me up too. I've been talking to some people, but if you are in New York and you're a fucking sick editor, always looking to add new people to the team, and those are the hardest thing to find is like a really, really sick comedy editor. So always looking for new ones. And this has
Fresh
been
meat.
always looking for fresh meat. And if you're fine with working in the nude,
Only one thing though is if you fucking wear a tie,
well, I wouldn't even want to fucking
get the fuck out of here.
This has been the Boyscast.
Peace.
Patreon.com/the Boyscast for an extra bonus episode every week. And this one's going to be fire.